from James on Facebook saying, Lesley, do you hold out any hope that independence would bring the change we would need to see to get huts going in Scotland?
Well, I mean, we've we've discussed things like this before, Andy, and the thing we did, the Scottish Six. And in fact, something you said then is something I always say now, which is the level of change in people's thinking that would be needed to get an independence vote would actually make anything possible. I mean, the number of I-beams that would have to be chucked in a corner, the amount of hesitation and constraint that would have to go, the amount of awareness of how normal countries work would be high enough that I think the levels of tolerance of these ludicrous constraints would go. The second thing, without grinding any party political axes, is that at the moment there is an artificially high level of support for the SNP, simply because people want independence and they see that, I think rightly, as the main party to deliver it. Once we get to a stage where we are independent, then it's possible for parties with other issues, Begorra, and other profiles and ideas of how Scotland can develop to really just be able to widen out and have those conversations, because at the moment it's totally impossible. And Andy does an amazing job from the Greens perspective, but he has to do it from a firefighting position of simply trying to, most of the time, amend SNP legislation, which is kind of a hopeless way to set out an alternative agenda for how we get this land thing sorted in this country. So yes, in that respect, I think independence would give us the jolt that might be needed. But actually, much of the thinking must start now. We have to outthink feudalism. We have to see how the virus has spread. And if you don't start to see these connections and just settle for less every time, you're making that moment of birth of the new nation as difficult as you could possibly make it, because it's in gestation now.